Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Red Men TV. It is the Fan Interactive Show. I'm Chris Page. I'm here with all of your news for today. It's not happy news. It's very sad news. Obviously, the title of the video is around Romeo Lavia. It does look like right now Romeo Lavia looks to be about to sign for Chelsea Football Club. And he will be the second defensive midfielder in as many days to sign for Chelsea Football Club over Liverpool Football Club. And that is annoying. That is heartbreaking in some ways. For a couple of reasons, really. Obviously, the Moises Caicedo stuff, we put the bid in, 111 million quid, get it accepted, player doesn't want to come to us. Romeo Lavia, the guy we flirted with all summer long, lowballed Southampton all summer long. Then we leave him to one side as we throw everything at Moises Caicedo, come back to Romeo Lavia, and I don't know whether we've had a £60 million bid accepted. There are different sorts of opinions on whether Liverpool have had a £60 million bid accepted. In fact, some people are saying the £45 million one was the last one that we made. Either way, it looks like Romeo Lavia will be going to Chelsea Football Club, joining Moises Caicedo and leaving Liverpool in the lurch big time without a recognised number 6 at the football club, which is absolutely stupid from Liverpool's side of things. I can't quite believe just how badly we've messed up the second half of this transfer window. It started so well. Obviously, we get Alexis McAllister through the door. We get Szoboszlai through the door. And everything seems to be motoring on. Then Jordan Henderson and Fabinho leave, and Liverpool look like they're going to have to sort this out themselves. Dip into the transfer market again, get a recognised DM in, one who that can come in and play straight away and improve the football team. And what Liverpool have ended up with is the two main targets, both leaving and both deciding to move to Chelsea instead of Liverpool. And it's frustrating as anything because, you know, you bring in Jörg Schmacker and he's supposed to get these deals over the line. And then over the weekend, you start to hear that actually Billy Hogan's been dealing with the Brighton stuff. And it's like, well, why did we bring this lad in? Why did we bring a recently retired director of football in to try and sort these deals? It's not like he was exactly pulling up trees at wherever else he's been, was it? We need a strategy. And it doesn't look like we've got a strategy unless the strategy is just let Chelsea buy all the players that we want, in which case we're doing really well with that strategy, to be honest with you. And I'd like us to change strategy. I think it's a bit silly, to be honest with you. And we look stupid. We look like a football club that's had its pants pulled down very publicly by Chelsea. There are so many winners out of all of this. Southampton are a winner. Chelsea are a winner. Moises Caicedo looks like he's a winner. Romeo Lavia looks like he's a winner. Brighton look like they're winners. And there's one big fat loser at the party, and that's Liverpool Football Club. And I hate Liverpool being made to look stupid. It's not how we want to do business. And I think Liverpool will be frustrated that, you know, the leaks, from what I'm hearing, were coming from Southampton's side and they're coming from Chelsea's side and stuff like that. And there was deadlines that were hit, and then Moises Caicedo, digs his heels in and stuff. But honestly, we look ridiculous right now, and we don't look like we've got a plan moving forwards. And there's just over a couple of weeks left in this transfer window, and what are we doing? Like, and I don't expect that Liverpool, to be honest with you, I don't expect that we're going to hear much now from Liverpool because of how publicly the last sort of stories have been played out. But they need to do something. Like, they absolutely 100% need a defensive midfielder. And I'm doing a show later on this afternoon with Josh Williams. I promised to do one on Caicedo last Friday, and when it started to move away from us, we pulled out of that. Unlike Liverpool, who just left it in there and eventually got pulled out. We are going to be looking at how Liverpool spend the, let's say, £111 million, because there's a few different ways you can go about it, isn't there? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think it's more than just a defensive midfielder. I really do, and I've said that all summer long. I don't really want Liverpool to spend £110 million or whatever on a DM if that's the only signing that we're going to get, because I see bigger holes in the squad than just the DM, and the DM is the biggest, don't get me wrong, but man, there's like I've still got major issues with the defence. Major issues with the defence. And they were just brought to the fore again, watching Chelsea toy with us in the second half, to be honest with you. And, we got away with a draw and whatnot, but it wasn't good enough by Liverpool by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to get into some of the comments and stuff. First of all, big thank you to Virgil87, who joined as a YouTube member just a little time ago. So really appreciate you joining as a YouTube member as a first teamer. That's wicked. You can use emojis in the chat and stuff like that. We've also had a little super chat here from Jonesy lad, who says Thuram, Kone, Zubimendi and Sangar. Yes, and yes. But like, I'm assuming, Jonesy, you don't mean that we should get all of them. I'll tell you what, let's have a look. There's a few people in here now. NGA story is saying we should get Matheus Nunes for real now. There's a little story about that later on in the show, actually. Jaden67 says just put 80 million down for Kimmich. Kind of agree with you there. That would be wicked. John Cutler says we need a defender as well, which I completely agree with. And Lamley Dan says replace Robertson with a left centre back. And again, great idea. I think that's the way that Liverpool should be moving, to be honest with you. And then let's have a little look at this one. What's this one say here? Hugo says those 111 million are suddenly going to disappear. They are going to disappear very much. Lee just says, chill, Chris. Chill, mate. It'll be fine. Liverpool know the issues and will buy quality before the end of the window. We will compete. I'm glad that you've got so much expectation and belief in what Liverpool are going to do between now and the end of the window. I'm very much of the opinion right now that Liverpool are going to struggle in terms of the top two targets have gone. And that sometimes can work out in your favour. Mohamed Salah wasn't our number one target that summer, but we go and get him and he becomes a bona fide Liverpool legend, one of the greatest players to ever wear the red shirt, and that's saying something. So you can absolutely get a bargain, you can absolutely get quality in the market, but it just seems like so many people have moved now and Liverpool are so late, and they're being reactive, not proactive. And a reactive Liverpool, I don't think historically has been very good. I think a proactive Liverpool has historically been very good. I'm going to get into some of the news stories anyway. I'll get back into the comments and stuff, of course, later on the show. So the first one was from the Mail. I have talked about it, but Liverpool are set to miss out on another key midfield target with Southampton teenager Romeo Lavia poised to follow Moises Caicedo to Chelsea. Jurgen Klopp's men have been frustrated in the last week after Caicedo opted to join Chelsea despite Liverpool agreeing a £109 million fee. Now the Belgian teenager Lavia is likely to follow suit and choose Chelsea instead of Liverpool. Over to This Is Anfield. Despite Liverpool reaching an agreement with Southampton for midfielder Romeo Lavia, the Belgian has now opted to join Chelsea. It has now happened twice in less than 24 hours, with a priority midfield target spurning Liverpool for Chelsea. Painful stuff, to be honest with you. I'm going to go on to a transfer story around the player that I don't think will sign. But before I do that, I'm going to get into some of the comments again. Ajabroy says, right back, DM and a backup centre-back. Would Laporte be an option? Play 4-2-3-1 with Trent and a double pivot. A right back that can defend this box midfield is risky. It's interesting that you say this. Actually, I don't know about Laporte. I don't know whether Manchester City would sell us, but maybe they're not even asked about us anymore. It does feel like now 4-2-3-1, and I say this every summer, but it does feel like our squad right now without signing the DM is very much set up for a 4-2-3-1. So I'm kind of surprised we've sort of stuck with the 3-box-3 formation because, play Trent at right back, play Robertson at left back, throw two DMs in, maybe McAllister and Thiago if you want, and let Gakpo and the other lads all further forwards try and destroy teams. We don't seem to have a lot of balance in our side at the moment, and I think a 4-2-3-1 would probably help us, but, it is what it is. Matty Gorman says, don't want to hear any of this shit. We're skimp. We can't operate like other big teams. All propaganda. Florentino Luis, Inacio, Ibrahim Sangar. Inacio's a great shout. I think Sporting, is he? Centre-back. Left-footed centre-half as well, which fit them all perfectly. Florentino Luis could be expensive, but absolutely. and Sangar, we've been linked with him because of ASP in the Netherlands, I think it was. So I've got a story on that one later in the show. Another super chat as well. Thank you very much, Alex. We should get a younger / much older player for around 30 mil to increase bargaining power for a bigger signing. So a younger or an older player to increase the bargaining power. I think Liverpool probably needs somebody. The younger players should realistically be covered by Bajcetic. An older player, I think, who can slot into the side now is important as well. I'd definitely like to see that. But we have no bargaining power. You're absolutely right. So we need to try and do something to make sure that we do get bargaining power back. Because if we don't do that, then we're just going to be rinsed by everybody, aren't we? And that's what it kind of feels like is happening anyway. To be honest with you, I'm going to move on to the next story. It's a non-story, so don't have a pop at me. But David Ornstein came out last night and started talking about Liverpool and Aurelien Tchouameni, and this is on The Athletic, so I'm not going to show the screen, but Liverpool are among a number of leading clubs who retain a long-term admiration for Aurelien Tchouameni, but Real Madrid see the midfielder as a key player and would not consider his departure while the player has no interest in leaving. Now, you can read that as it is, or you can read between the lines here and say, well, if the player says he's interested in leaving, then would Real Madrid sell him? So what we now need is Aurelien Tchouameni to turn around to Real Madrid and go, I'd like to go to Liverpool. I'll be honest, I can't see that that's going to happen anytime soon. But we kind of need to do something big, don't we? And I think, like, you know, a Tchouameni signing would save face for Liverpool, and you shouldn't be about saving face, don't get me wrong. But I would like Liverpool to sign Tchouameni. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he wants to leave. I think they've got one of the best young midfielders in the world. I think they've got one of the best old midfielders in the world in Real Madrid. He's got a good chance of having a pop at La Liga. Obviously, Barca won it last year. He's got a good chance of having a pop at the Champions League if he was to stay at Real Madrid. And I'm sure he'd like to play alongside Jude Bellingham and form one of the best midfields in the world, young or old, alongside him. I had another super chat come in. Lunatic, sorry. Werner was our top target when we signed Jota. Backup options have worked out just fine for us. Absolutely. Absolutely agreed with that one. There was a lot of people who were disappointed that we didn't sign Timo Werner. And in the end, it did look like it did very much look like a bullet dodged. Martin Walls, hi Martin, thank you very much for the chat. Hello Chris, I'm sure Liverpool must have their irons in the fire. Let's face it, Lavia's gone for the money, so Feckham, heads up Reds and Klopp we trust. I like your optimism as well, Martin. It's mad that he's gone to Chelsea though, because now there's two young midfielders competing for the same spot. So it does make me think it is a little bit more money than anything else. But by all accounts, that being said, you know, a lot of this is down to, you know, how much Liverpool are willing to pay as well. And I don't think Liverpool really thought that he was worth the 50 million quid. And again, you know, I did mention it. There were rumours of a 60 million pound bid accepted, but that's kind of quieting down. I'm not sure we ever did have a 60 million pound bid accepted. So the Liverpool just decided that it was too much and it's dragged on for too long and we're moving on. I don't know exactly, but it could have possibly played out that way. Liverpool don't really ever want to overpay for targets. I think they've proved that over the last few years. But as I say, and just a little bit earlier on there, we've got absolutely no leverage in any negotiations with any type of midfielder. So I expect that Liverpool are going to have to overpay. No matter what, this transfer window. I've had another super chat. Thank you very much, Joshua. Could Klopp walk at the end of the season? I doubt that Klopp would walk at the end of the season, but I imagine the Klopp will be a bit pissed off about how this is played out. Obviously, he was talking about it in the press conference prior to Chelsea, wasn't he, about it? And I think it was over-egged a little bit how much he was saying, because ultimately he said, listen, we've had a bid accepted and that's all I can say. The rest is down to the player and the clubs to sort something out. And they didn't get anything sorted out, unfortunately, for us. And it is frustrating, as I mentioned before. But I think SM's kind of nailed it here. He says the rebuild has been left too late. And there was very much an opportunity for me when Fabinho and Henderson were going to move on, and the opportunity was to get better faster. And you might have to take a step back to take 3 steps forwards or whatever because of the experience. That opportunity right now looks like it's been lost. They can still turn that around, don't get me wrong, but I'm not confident that they are going to turn it around. I'm not confident that this Liverpool hierarchy at the moment are doing the right things at the right time to give us the best possible chance of winning and competing. Um, for me, giving Jurgen the players at the start of pre-season is putting the foundations in place for a good season. You do not want your manager coming out a week before the season starts and saying in the media that we might have to change things for Chelsea because we don't have the players to do what I want to do tactically. We didn't end up doing that, but that felt to me like a bit of a plea to the football hierarchy and the ownership to sort this shit out, lads. Like I've been working for the last 6 months on a formation, and I can't play that formation because I don't have the players in my squad to be able to play that formation. And it seemed a bit nuts that we never went to like a 4-2-3-1 or just a straight 4-3-3. I know Trent was moving around, but maybe not as much as the back end of last season. But this is all part and parcel of where we are. When you don't have the right players and the manager doesn't feel confident in the players that he's got, then you end up with poor performances. And I know the first 20 minutes or so was great. And even then, I've seen a lot of people say the first 20 minutes were great. I thought 12 of the first 20 minutes were great, to be honest with you. I think there was still a spell in that first 20 where Chelsea looked like they were tearing us apart. We obviously get the goal, maybe should have got two, but I think it was correctly ruled off for offside, so there's nothing really to complain about there. Moving on to the next story then, Salah has been contacted by Al Ittihad just to really make it more difficult for Liverpool. Saudi side Al Ittihad have reportedly contacted Mo Salah and Liverpool about a potential transfer. Now, Rudy Galletti says Al Ittihad approached Salah and Liverpool to explore the opportunity for his transfer. Momo doesn't mind the idea to land in Saudi Arabia, but considering the utmost respect for his club, he will let Liverpool decide freely. It's up to the teams now. Talks are open. So hopefully Liverpool just come back with a big fat no, not happening. We're not moving, because we know his agent came out on Twitter and lawyer, like, was it last week or the week before, and said like we wouldn't have signed the contract if he was considering moving anywhere else. So he's not considering moving anywhere else. Liverpool just needs to say no to this and move this on and make this become a non-story as quick as humanly possible, because it's getting silly now. And if teams are starting to sense a weakness in Liverpool Football Club that we've not had over the last few years, and that's horrendous. I've had a super chat here from Etsam Zaidi, thank you so much, and from Kevin McAndrew, thank you so much for the super chat, really appreciate you. Let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look at Matthew Eckersley, who says, I live in France and will personally drive to Nice and sign Thuram for us after this bullshit. I like that. Now, Matthew, am I right in saying here that, you know, Thuram, as good as a player that he is, he's a bit more of a box-to-box 8 than an absolute dyed-in-the-wool destroyer? I think Manu Kone is probably a bit more of a destroyer, and I think he's over his injury now. I think that he picked up in pre-season, so maybe we'll reignite our interest in Manu Kone. There are players out there that we've been linked with, obviously, even just recently, like the likes of Andre, and while Sofran Amrabat hasn't gone to Manchester United yet, I think that's worthwhile to talk about him as well, because he is an absolute destroyer. He is very much, we've got loads and loads of people who want to play the ball forwards and play nice football and all that type of stuff. We need some absolute yard dogs in this side. That's what I feel we're missing. I feel like we don't have the steel at the moment. We don't have people who want to defend, who want to win the ball back, who want to make it difficult for the opposition, lean into them, make it gnarly. That's what we need right now. And I'd happily go for Sofran Amrabat, to be honest with you, because of that, because it's so different to what else we've got in the middle of the park. Okay, let's move on to the next story then. Anyway, Brighton CEO opens up on Liverpool talks before Moises Caicedo transfer collapse. So Brighton CEO Paul Barber has conceded Liverpool couldn't have done any more to complete a deal for Moises Caicedo. Liverpool agreed the £110 million deal in the early hours of Friday morning. The Londoners responded to Jurgen Klopp's side, moving things by coming back in for the 20-year-old, yada. First of all, Liverpool is a fantastic football club. For any footballer to have a chance to play at Liverpool, you'd imagine they'd be running up the M6 and the M62, but it wasn't to be. Moises and his advisors decided, for whatever reason, that London was their preferred destination and ultimately Chelsea. in that situation, we're in a slightly difficult position because we'd negotiated a deal working many days with Liverpool, with Liverpool to get a deal agreed, and they couldn't have done any more. They were superb and professional throughout, but when it comes down to the player at that point, and we're very much out the loop because it's a discussion between the player and Liverpool. At that point, it was clear he wasn't going to Liverpool. Then we have to go into a different mode because having negotiated a British record transfer, we've then got to do it again 3 days later. We started working with Chelsea as soon as we realised Liverpool were not able to proceed. And at that point, we've got to protect our own interests. Our interests are our player, making sure we realise the value for that player that we were expecting. Sounds like it sounds like Liverpool have done a good job there. It sounds like we've been absolutely screwed by Moises Caicedo, to be honest with you, doesn't it? And it sounds like Brighton are maybe saying, look, we did agree it and we'd have followed through with agreeing for a sale to Liverpool, but at the end of the day, there is a tipping point, I think, is what Barbara's saying there, whereby they've got to get the money in for the player, and if he's not want to go to Liverpool, then he's got to go somewhere else. Let's talk about Matheus Nunes then. Liverpool could make an approach for Wolves' Matheus Nunes. The club assessed their options over a midfield rebuild. Always Caicedo. A late move for Caicedo proved fruitless as Chelsea managed to secure the former, while Romeo Lavia had his head turned and looked set for a move to Stamford Bridge as well. The club have liked Nunes as far back as last year when playing for Sporting, and now the side are weighing up another approach for the 24-year-old. We understand there's a contingent of Wolves players looking for an exit following the departure of Julian Lopetegui, the manager who helped keep their Premier League status last time out. Nunes has registered interest from other clubs as well as Liverpool. Personal terms would not be an issue for the Portuguese midfielder. Again, I know he's not the sexy choice off around the bat, but I do feel like for what Liverpool need in this side, it's more that and less Nunes. And I think he's a really good player. He's a front-footed player. He likes to get forwards and all that type of stuff. We're chock full of attacking talent. The attacking talent's not the problem for me. I want someone who wants the ball. I want someone who wants to kick shit out of the opposition. I want someone who can just get the ball back for me, cover the defence, make them not look shite, and then get Liverpool on the attack. Is it too much to ask for? My word. Oh God, no, don't say this. So we're going to bid for Sofran Amrabat out of desperation, get rejected again, this time for Manchester United. Oh, JC says, just please bring back Michael Edwards, please. It's an interesting one, this. Obviously, Jamie Carragher was talking about it on Monday Night Football, what an absolute mess it's been at Liverpool and the way that we've worked. And I do, and I've said this for such a long time now. Whenever a team isn't doing well on the field, I look at how the upper echelons of the football club are working, and I do feel like if you're a mess at the top, you can quite often end up being a mess on the football field as well. But going from Michael Edwards to Julian Ward to George Schmacker, and then to find out that actually, while George Schmacker's there, it's Billy Hogan negotiating deals, and you're thinking, what the hell's going on, man? We used to be one of the best run football clubs in the world, the best run football club in the world, and now we just look like a bunch of jokers who just aren't able to get anything sorted. Lads, sort it out. Another news story then. Liverpool to battle Forest and Bayern for Ibrahim Sangar. Or Sangare, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, so apologies. Sangar has the ability to play as a defensive, central attacking midfielder, so could provide cover in several areas for Liverpool next season. Nottingham Forest are one of the clubs with a concrete interest in Sangar, while Bayern Munich also provides stiff competition, and also I think PSG were cited with a bit of an interest in him. Currently valued at around £32.4 million. Liverpool have to move quickly to beat the competition to Sangar's signature. So it'll be interesting to see if they make an opening offer in the next few days. And obviously, I think this one came from ESPN Netherlands, maybe. So they might have something to say on this. But again, there's a player that I'd fancy us to go in for, to be honest with you. I'd like the sound of that. Let's get into some of the super chats. Liam Oliver, thank you so much. We need to get Florentino Luis from Benfica for CDM, but don't pay his 105 million release clause. And Ashley from Sporting and pay his release clause. Florentino Luis looks like a boss player. Absolutely agree with you there. And Ashley is certainly somebody that I'd be looking to try and tidy up that left side of the defence. Definitely. Love that. But tonight, we've known we need mid since last mid-season. Have we not had our plans laid out for all this? I can see us having no DM this season. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think Liverpool will sign somebody, but I'm in the same boat in terms of how have they managed to do this? Like, we've known about this for a hell of a long time now, and yet we're still nowhere near doing it. And not only that, we lost the two DMs that we thought we'd have this season in Henderson and Fabinho. It's a joke. Luke Thomas, Turam is 6'3". Dino Wijnaldum, player, future LFC legends. Okay. Joshua, saw highlights of our 4-0 win against United. Remind me how amazing we were. Some poor decisions from people in charge of transfers. Owners not really at fault. Definitely some poor decisions. Now, don't like the owners aren't at fault for having £100 million offer for Casado sorted and him choosing there. The owners aren't at fault for that. But it might be that the budgets have been restraining the transfer team for a long time, such that they've had to turn water into wine quite often, and maybe their special powers are waning. I'm sure having more money will definitely help, but I do not blame FSG for the Casado and the Romeo Lavia stuff. I do blame the football people for that. That being said, I do want more money to spend. If other teams are going out there and creatively accounting, shall we say, then maybe it's time Liverpool started to creatively account and try and sort those issues out. Okay, Liverpool, people aren't going to like this one. Liverpool are among the clubs that are interested in Leeds midfielder Tyler Adams, a.k.a. choice number 3 for Chelsea. Obviously, the other bid accepted, £20 million release clause was hit. Bournemouth are now cited with an interest in Tyler Adams. I still think he's a good player. He's injured at the moment, though, I think, isn't he? Tyler Adams would not feel particularly confident going into the new season if Tyler Adams was the young player that we signed. Not Chelsea's third choice. Yeah. Lee DiMaggio just says, rubbish, Chris. You says, I'm not convinced with Tyler Adams. Sorry, I missed that one. Oh, there we go. I managed to get there. Let's have a look. Paul Z says, of course we're interested in the 20 million player, Cheapskate FC. Yeah. Chris. UEFA only allow 5-year contracts. If you want to play European comps, you can only have a max of 5-year contracts. I'm not sure that's true, to be honest with you. I think the way that it is the contract can be 8 years if you want, but the amortization of the transfer fee is a maximum of 5 years. I think I might be wrong on that. The Premier League haven't followed suit, though, with the UEFA FFP sort of rules and regs around this. So the loophole still exists for Chelsea in terms of Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia because they're not in European competitions this season. Also, I think the way that Chelsea have done it is quite clever in that when you sell players, they go straight onto your books. So if you sell a player for 50 million, 50 million goes into your books. If you buy a player for 50 million, spread that over a 5-year contract, 10 million goes onto your books plus his wages. So you can get I think Chelsea have sold about £150 million worth of players, and with amortization, I reckon they've actually only brought in just over £150 million worth of players because those transfer fees do go against it. And I think they've been bringing their wage bill down considerably as well, believe it or not. Floriette says, creative accounting. I haven't qualified in the European Cups this year for cap max no years for amortization contract. I just said all that. But thank you for proving me right. It is what it is. There you go, Michael Davies. Spot on with contracts. You spread the cost of the player over 5 years. You can get 8-year contracts if you want. Thank you very much. Right, Dally Pool. Chris, what do you think of the Carlos Baleba links right after Brighton? We're linked with him cutting out the middleman and going with the Brighton scouts. 100%. Let's just do that. We can get him for around about 20 million quid and save ourselves around about 90 million quid in a few years' time from just buying him or attempting to buy him off Brighton. Then we should absolutely do that. The Irish King says, lads, I'm available for DM. So there you go. James Charlton Nunes of Wolves, we have just spoken about that. I'm not feeling it personally. I'm not feeling it at all. Liverpool need to sort it out big time. big time. We've messed this transfer window up. The second part of it, anyway. The first part of it was great. It was fantastic. I thought we were doing bloody marvellous. But we've been embarrassed by Chelsea. We've been embarrassed in the media over the last few days, and we weren't even able to get the win. Weren't even able to get the win against Chelsea. The problems still exist. They really do still exist in this side, and I don't see that defensively we've got any better for playing in the formation all the pre-season and again at the weekend. We need a 6. I say we need a left-sided centre-half. I say we need a right-sided centre-half as well, to be honest with you. And we probably need 2 6s in case Bajcetic isn't coming back from injury that well. Right now, I would be looking at a left-sided centre-half, a right-sided centre-half, and probably 2 DMs. I doubt we're going to get all of those. It remains to be seen how much money Liverpool have got to spend. But if the right player isn't out there, is Klopp going to come out and say, I'm going to wait? Oh, the backlash would be horrendous. The backlash would be horrendous. Get us some players, Liverpool. We really, 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 really need to get some players in, because this could be a long old season with a defence as porous as ours. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I think I've gone through all the super chats and stuff as well, haven't I? No, I don't. I don't think we have. Yes, I think we have. We've gone through all the super chats. Virgil87 was the one new member this way. Thank you very much for that. Sign some players, Liverpool Football Club. Pull your finger out your arse. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra. Oh, one more super chat. Sorry. Dun dun dun. Where is it? Aha! Here we go. Smelling the coffee. Only now on FSG's lack of ambition. Pistol Panda. I think I've been saying this since January, but fine. If you want to say that, that's absolutely fine. Thank you very much for joining us, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.
So much for watching. The new season is here. Come and join us over on redmenplus.com for fantastic shows, pre and post match content, journalistic insights into all Liverpool's transfer business, documentaries, interviews, features and more. Head to redmenplus.com, sign up today and fill your boots with Boss Liverpool content.